To step aboard a modern cruise ship is to enter a floating sanctuary of leisure, where the harsh realities of the natural world are carefully kept at bay behind thick glass and heavily reinforced steel. Passengers expect the gentle hum of engines, the rhythmic, soothing motion of the sea, and a controlled environment where the biggest concern is making it to the dining room on time. However, the ocean remains an untamed, indifferent force. When meteorological fury aligns with the precise vulnerabilities of a vessel, the illusion of invincibility shatters in an instant. This is the exact reality that the passengers and crew of the Pacific Sun faced on the terrifying evening of July 30th, 2008. In a matter of seconds, a luxury vacation transformed into a brutal lesson in physics, hydrodynamics, and survival, producing some of the most shocking visual evidence of maritime chaos ever recorded inside a passenger vessel. The incident occurred during what was supposed to be a standard, idyllic 8-night South Pacific cruise. The itinerary was designed to offer the ultimate tropical escape, taking passengers from the cooler climate of New Zealand into the warm embrace of the islands. The Pacific Sun had successfully visited Port Vila in Vanuatu, a tropical haven known for its calm, azure waters and gentle breezes. On July 28, 2008, the ship departed Vanuatu, turning its bow south to begin the multi-day transit back to its home port of Auckland, New Zealand. The route required crossing the stretch of the South Pacific Ocean that lies between the tropics and the turbulent waters north of New Zealand, a region notorious for rapid and violent weather changes. For the first part of the return journey, the sea was relatively cooperative. However, as the ship sailed further south, the barometric pressure began to plummet. By July 30th, approximately 400 miles north of the New Zealand coast, the Pacific Sun sailed directly into the teeth of a severe maritime storm system. A deep, low-pressure system had stalled and intensified, creating a massive fetch, the uninterrupted distance over which the wind blows across the surface of the water. This fetch allowed the ocean waves to build to monstrous proportions. Meteorological data from that evening indicated sustained wind speeds exceeding 50 knots, with gusts reaching hurricane force. More critically, the swell had grown to an average height of 7 to 8 meters. These were not the predictable rolling waves of a standard sea state. They were steep, aggressive, and highly kinetic. The ship's active fin stabilizers, underwater wings designed to counteract the rolling motion of the ship by adjusting their angle of attack based on the ship's gyroscopes, were deployed and working at maximum capacity. However, stabilizers are designed for passenger comfort in moderate seas. They are physically incapable of counteracting the sheer hydrostatic mass of an 8-meter wave striking the vessel directly on its beam, the side. As evening fell, the ship was battling the heavy seas, pitching and rolling significantly, forcing most of the 1,732 passengers to remain indoors. Suddenly, the vessel was caught in a highly dangerous, dynamic situation. A massive, rogue-like swell, estimated to be significantly larger than the average 8-meter waves, struck the Pacific Sun squarely on her side. The ship was pushed violently to port, but instead of immediately snapping back, the momentum of the vessel, combined with the continuous push of the wind and the steep trough of the wave, caused the ship to continue leaning. The Pacific Sun reached a staggering, terrifying roll of 31 degrees. To put this into perspective, commercial cruise ships are designed to safely handle rolls of 10 to 15 degrees in heavy weather. A roll of 20 degrees will cause unbolted furniture to slide and makes walking impossible. A roll of 31 degrees is a catastrophic failure of the ship's internal environment. At this angle, the gravitational pull on objects inside the ship overcomes friction, turning the vessel's interior into a centrifuge of flying debris. The true horror of the 31-degree roll was captured by the ship's internal CCTV cameras, footage that would mysteriously leak onto the internet years later and go viral. Because the storm had already been raging, many passengers had congregated in the ship's central public areas, seeking comfort in numbers. In the ship's casino, the footage reveals a scene of absolute devastation. As the deck angle steepened past 20 degrees, the heavy steel casino tables and chairs began to slide. As the ship hit the 30-degree mark, massive heavy slot machines, weighing hundreds of pounds and supposedly secured to the deck, ripped free from their mountings. They cascaded across the room like boulders in a landslide, crushing everything in their path. Passengers can be seen desperately clinging to structural pillars, only to have their grips torn away by the sheer angle of the deck, sending them sliding uncontrollably across the floor, crashing into bulkheads and flying furniture. In the dining rooms and duty-free shops, the situation was equally dire. Thousands of plates, glasses, and bottles shattered simultaneously. Heavy merchandise displays toppled, burying people underneath. The sound inside the ship was described by survivors as a deafening roar of twisting metal, breaking glass, and human screams. The lights flickered as the ship's systems strained under the immense physical stress. For several agonizing seconds, the Pacific Sun hung at that 31-degree angle, leaving passengers suspended in a state of sheer terror, wondering if the ship had crossed the point of no return and was about to capsize. The cruise ship Pacific Sun avoided capsizing thanks to its low center of gravity, with heavy engines at the bottom acting like a pendulum, and the strong upward buoyancy of the displaced ocean water, much like a Weeble-Wobble toy. However, while these combined physical forces successfully stopped the ship from rolling past a terrifying 31-degree tilt, the vessel's highly stable design caused it to snap back upright with aggressive, whiplash-like speed. Ironically, the very same physics that saved the ship from sinking were responsible for the violent internal destruction, as the rapid recovery tore heavy equipment loose and hurled passengers across the rooms. When the ship finally righted itself, the interior looked like a war zone. The immediate priority shifted from structural survival to mass medical triage. Out of the 1,732 passengers on board, 42 suffered significant injuries. These included broken collarbones, fractured ribs, severe lacerations, and concussions, all caused by flying debris, loose slot machines, and blunt force trauma from being thrown across rooms. The ship's medical center was instantly overwhelmed. Corridors were transformed into makeshift triage zones. The captain, having regained control of the vessel, was forced to dramatically reduce speed and alter course to take the massive waves directly on the bow rather than the beam, a maneuver that drastically reduced the violent rolling but extended the miserable journey back to land. The Pacific Sun limped back into the Waitemata Harbor in Auckland, New Zealand. Waiting on the docks were fleets of ambulances and medical personnel ready to transport the most severely injured to local hospitals. For the passengers disembarking, the relief of stepping onto solid ground was mixed with profound psychological trauma. Many vowed never to set foot on a ship again, having stared directly into the terrifying reality of a maritime disaster. For several years, the extreme nature of the Pacific Sun incident was mostly confined to passenger testimonies and written news reports. P&O Cruises compensated the passengers and offered free future cruises, downplaying the severity of the event in corporate statements. However, in 2010, the ship's internal CCTV footage was leaked to the internet. The raw, unfiltered video of the 31-degree roll provided the maritime world and the general public with an unprecedented look at the violent realities of severe weather at sea. It became an instant viral sensation. The incident triggered a massive internal review across the cruise industry regarding the securing of internal cargo. It highlighted a fatal flaw in interior design. While the hull and engineering of the ship could withstand extreme angles, the interior outfitting could not. Heavy equipment, particularly in casinos and galleys, was subjected to new, vastly more rigorous bolting standards. Slot machines, grand pianos, and heavy dining tables had to be secured to withstand lateral G-forces that were previously thought impossible on a commercial cruise liner. The story of the Pacific Sun stands today as a permanent, chilling reminder of the hierarchy of the ocean. Naval architecture and maritime physics are powerful tools that keep humanity safe in hostile environments, but they do not conquer the sea. The 31-degree roll proved that a ship can be mathematically perfectly stable. Its engines can run flawlessly, and its hull can remain unbreached. Yet the sheer violence of a storm can still tear its interior and the lives of those within it completely apart.